Hello, and welcome to my stream today. Today is all about continuing my portrait and maybe getting to finish it. I don't know if I will get to finish it. Certainly requires a lot of detail in the hand. I don't have a huge amount of time. I have like an hour and a half to 2 hours. I'm going to be working on the hoodie. First of all, actually very first of all, I'm going to sort out these eyebrows. They're way too bright. I do not have yellow eyebrows. So I'm just going to sort of tone them down with a bit of brown and a bit of a white, possibly some beige. And also, I totally forgot, I do have a beard in the shadow, which I just haven't textured. I haven't bothered texturing that. So I need to do that. My lip, I think, is a bit too fat, so I could go ahead and sort of reduce it a little bit. I might do that, I might not. Depends how I feel. That might be a very last thing to do to see how it's looking in the whole painting, but my lip isn't that fat in real life. I don't know how it became so fat in the painting. So yeah, that's what I plan to do today. As always, if you've got any questions, chat, say hi, tell me how you're doing. Yeah, put it in the chat. So, I'm going to start off with the eyebrows. I'm going to fix them. I'm going to tone them down a bit using burnt umber. No, I'm not. I'm going to tone it down using burnt sienna. I'm going to put a tiny bit on the palette because I don't need it. I will not. I'll put a tiny bit of yellow ochre on, but I don't think I'll use it. That'll be enough. A bit of the flesh tint colour. Oh, that's way too much. And I'll get some soft beige. I'm just going to grab a small brush. Yeah. So, let me sort out the eyebrows, and then I'll go on to do the sort of this area here. They're just not bright yellow. I don't know why I painted them bright yellow. Felt like a good idea at the time, I guess. I'm going to start off with the beige. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to start off with the burnt sienna. Put a little bit of texture in there. So I'll tone it down a bit. I found a couple of new playlists on Epidemic Sounds. I think hopefully the music will be a bit more varietied. So I'm just doing the first layer here. There is a bit of yellow in my eyebrows, but it's just not pure yellow, so I just need to tone that down. I'm just going to get the beige colour. I don't think I need the flesh tint or the yellow ochre. And I might finish it off with a bit of the white paint pen for the highlights. Yeah, that's a lot better than it was. It was far too yellow before, and now it's not yellow. Got to put some water out. Having a bottle just saves me constantly going to the sink to fill up. So I've got a commission coming up, starting probably on Saturday, I think, or no, Sunday. Not here Saturday. It's going to be quite cool. Hopefully I'll get that done before Christmas. I did kind of promise the person it'll be done before. Well, I said I'll try. I didn't promise. I'm just adding some texture in this beard, because, sorry, this moustache, because I haven't really done that very well here. This is where I'll probably use the yellow ochre. Gently. How is everyone today? I think that works quite well for the beard. I'm probably going to spoil it now, but I'm going to put a bit of a darker shadow up the, the lumpy bits above your lip. No idea what you call them. For the purpose of this, they're going to be called lumpy bits above your lip. I'm going to see if I can get a bit more of a shadow going up like that and up like that. And I'm going to use my finger to dab out the colour a little bit. It's really quite dark underneath the nose. Yeah, I think that works quite well. There's definitely a bit of depth and deepness in above the lip now, whereas I think it was just a bit flat with the plain colour. Right. I think, am I going to sort out this bottom lip? It's way too fat. Part of me says yes. The other part of me says, is it high risk? And it is high risk. Basically, what I'm talking about is, the lip is too fat. It needs to stop about where my paintbrush is now, rather than here. So I basically need to go along here and with a bit of flesh tint, and then I need to fill in the gap with a bit of beard. So I might go and do that. What's the worst going to happen? I'll just have to repaint what I make a mess of. So I'm mixing flesh tint with some beige. I'm just going to go up to about here. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. To be honest, I was going to just leave this, but I don't think, because I noticed it was wrong. I don't think I would have been satisfied to just leave it. I need to go in to do a lot more detail. So the bottom of the lip is now about here, which I'm now sort of putting a pretty faint shadow on. Now I need some pink, which I'm going to use magenta. Am I going to use magenta? Yes, I'm going to use magenta. And I'm going to mix it with some white, which appears to be on the floor, so excuse me. Don't know how that got there. By the way, I released a video about an hour and a half ago, so after the stream feel free to go and have a look. Adding a bit of fresh tint to this pink. I'm definitely going to need to come back and redo this. We'll have another look at it. I think that's a fairly accurate colour though. So after I've done this, I'll then go back onto the I'll go onto the hoodie and finish off the hoodie. Let me know if the music's too loud. I don't think it is, but let me know if it is. So I really am learning a lot about myself by painting myself. I really think that there's a lot to be said about seeing yourself in giving a lot of detail to yourself, which is something which I've never really done before. Really trying to work out what you kind of look like, I guess. It's not something that I've ever really considered before. And I think it's definitely worth doing if you're into painting and you do arts. Just do a self-portrait. I think you learn an awful lot about yourself. You really do. So I'd highly recommend doing it. Adding in the bottom beard, just the bottom lip beard bit. Yes, that was English. So I think that looks a lot better than it did. I've managed to bring the lip up a little bit compared to where it was. I think it looks a little bit less flat and much more like the image that I'm going for. Just gonna add the shadow at the bottom a little bit more. So there you go. I think that's made a difference. So now I'm going to move on to the hoodie. So this is quite a different technique. I'm going to really look at the textures behind the whole hoodie. Let me just bring the reference image up. So I'm not going to paint the texture, the sort of quilted texture in. What I am going to do though, is I'm going to keep the sort of same base colour I've got already, because I quite like that base colour. It's more bluey than the actual hoodie. But then create the highlights and the shadows. So I'll start off with the shadows, really work on them, and then go on to the highlights. And it'll just be, basically I'll be using two colours, which will be the Payne's Grey for the shadows, and then white for the highlights. And you'll see a nice texture going through. I'm going to be using my finger a lot to rub it in. So yeah. So got a slightly bigger brush as well. This brush will be suitable. This is a number 6. So I'm going to doll up a bunch of Payne's Grey on here. That's going to be my shadow colour. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off probably over here. Not a huge amount of shadows on this. The whole idea is to do some sort of texture, and it doesn't really matter if you follow the picture at all or not. It's more about getting it look right on the painting. When you're doing shadow work and highlight work, I kind of like to have a bit of a loose paint, so use quite a lot of water. And this shouldn't take me very long to do the hoodie, I don't think. I'm going to be very rough and loose with the detail here. Really quite a dark bit here. So I will use the image as a reference, but it's not going to be the difference between. I'm not going to follow it exactly. I'm not that bothered by the general result, to be honest. The key thing is I need to keep rubbing it in with my finger just to make sure it's blending like fabric does, rather than having lines and structures and stuff like that. Like here, I'm gonna give it a little bit more of a depth. I'm trying to create a gradient of this hoodie over to my face over here. I might need to go and do the edges of the beard again, so I don't go over the top. So I created a nice little gradient here. I'm going to rub it in with my finger. And then I'll be able to add white along that to highlight it there. Here again needs a bit of a shadow just to define the edge. So the shadow is more about there to set it back and define the boundaries. The white is really going to make the huge amount of difference in this, in the hoodie. I think clothes in general tend to be one of my strongest points. Or the texture of the fabric. Oh, there's a cuff there that I've missed. I need to go back and do that if I remember. I think the shadows are good enough for that side, so I'll move on to the other side. There's a readjustment of this shadow here. I get a slightly smaller brush as well so I can do more details. I think a size 2 will be fine. So I keep wittering on about this, but I really have learned quite a lot doing my self-portrait. Understanding how I look is one thing. I didn't realise, there's certain things I didn't realise what I looked like. So for instance, it's quite a big refraction in my glasses. I didn't think I realised that. It's quite, there's lots of different colours in my hair and my beard. I always just picture myself as a slightly sort of yellowy orange hair. Yeah, I don't really consider these sort of things when I'm sort of thinking about myself. Also, the photo I took was deliberately quite tired in it. I just wanted to, one of the themes of the painting I wanted to explore was more of a, yeah, it's a tired look, but there's still personality behind there, even though I'm tired. I think that's quite a nice theme to explore yourself. see yourself, well, how you see yourself, perhaps even when you're at your worst. So this hoodie's going to really come alive when I start putting the highlights in. Right now it's just probably a bit not boring, but lifeless. So this is a technique I quite often use, is a brush that hasn't been saturated very much, just rub over it and over and over, and eventually you get enough colour to sort of make a nice shadow. So hopefully you can see the sort of colour come into life, the hoodie with its textures and its sort of natural way of sitting on my sort of shoulders. Just going to add a little bit of white here just to sort of get the position of the cuff. So that looks quite good. I now need to do the highlights. I'll wash the brushes. I'm going to whack on some white on the palette. And we're just going to go and start with it. I'll get some fresh water because it's white. I don't want to contaminate the water with some sort of grey, darkish water. So yeah, let's go. So you're probably wondering why I'm putting so much white on. The reason is I'm going to rub it in with my finger like this. Make sure there's texture in there really nicely. The great thing about using a finger, you've got so much control over how much paint you want to leave on the canvas. Whereas if you've got a brush, you don't really have that control. Well, I don't anyway. So I just use my finger. Yeah, okay, I'll have to wash my finger later, but use a bit of Swarfiga and it gets that off immediately. So yeah, hopefully you can see the texture in the hoodie already. Finger painting is underrated. So I'm going to accentuate the highlight at the top of the hoodie here. There's a little seam there, and I'm going to leave the seam. I'm just going to basically draw a line down like that and use my finger to drag the paint downwards so you can see it smoothing in. So my next painting is going to be sort of like this really fluffy dog, really cute fluffy thing. I was told what kind it was, I can't actually remember. I'm not particularly into dogs, but it's going to be certainly a challenge. It's going to be the fluffiest thing I've ever painted, probably even fluffier than the Mancoon I painted. So that'll be a nice challenge. Going back to the smaller brush now and adding some detail of the shadow, which I missed out. So that comes down like this. Then just hits this shadow here, comes along there. I'm going to fill in the gap, so it turns into painting by numbers again. Then the shadow continues down here. Hits the hand. So I'm going to accentuate this highlight next to this crease here. Just add a bit of a sort of contrast. That works quite well. I'll bring this highlight, which I should have accentuated a little bit more than I did. Just going to paint that in. And I'm going to do the same with this one. So yeah, I think that side of the hoodie's looking pretty good, and then I'll just move from right to left. changing the brushes as I go, depending on what I feel is the right brushes for this job. So this one I'm going to accentuate the highlight again next to the shadow. I'm going a bit over the top there, but we can just rub that out in a sec. Always paint the shadow in again. Made a mess of this little bit here, but I can. That's not a problem with painting. You can always paint over your mistakes. Keep forgetting you can't see the very bottom of the painting because of the way I've set the camera up. So I'm deliberately leaving a bit of a fuzzy line over here because I just think it adds a bit of a curiosity. I don't need it to be a solid line on here because if the foreground blends into the background, I think the eye works quite well for it. I just rub off some bits that I made a bit of a mess of. That's them gone.
I just miss you more than anything. It's way too quiet in the house. I'm just wasted on the couch. Guess I don't wanna feel anything. Wish you'd stayed here beside me. This isn't how it's supposed to be. Wish you'd stayed here right with me. I can't shake that feeling that we said goodbye too soon.
Yeah, I think that looks alright on the hood there. That's okay there. Maybe I'll just do a tiny little bit of white there and just really rub it in.
Stop thinking about us. I won't forget a single thing, from drunken nights to Sunday mornings, and how you smile at me.
Adding a little bit of texture in there.
Stay here beside me. This isn't
I'll do the cuff last because it's right in the front, but so I'll move on to this now. I think that deserves a smaller brush because there's a bit more detail here. So at the right very top here, there's definitely a highlight. And that actually comes back on itself like that. And I'm going to preserve the sharp line at the top, but I'm going to pull the paint down with my finger.
stayed here beside me. This isn't how it's supposed to be. Wish you stayed here right with me. I can't shake that feeling that we said goodbye too soon.
I think that works quite well there. I'm going to grab a smaller brush. I want to add a little bit of a very, very small touch of a highlight. Sorry, a shadow. Just want to do it along here. It's cool, that works quite well. So I've got a fairly sharp line there, and now I'm going to do the other side where it's going to be fairly sharp again. So I'll do this bit first, which is going to be a strong highlight at the top. So it's going to be quite a strong highlight like this, and then it's going to fade down into. Just get the texture of the gradient by using my finger again, as usual. I'm really liking how this hoodie's coming out. Again, using my finger there to bring the texture down. It's one of those things about using canvas. You can use the texture of the actual canvas itself as a for fabrics. So it's like all the deep parts of the canvas, those should be darker than the light parts. That's why I think this technique works quite well for this type of fabric. I think clothing is always sort of plays a really good role in any sort of portrait, because it does frame the face. Like in this one, I've got the clothing comes up quite high because it's a hoodie, but it needs to be subtle enough to sort of draw your eye in to the hoodie, the face. I'm just going to soften these shadows a little bit here. Just going to soften this up with water here. So yeah, I think that looks pretty good there. So I've got this panel, this panel, and this panel to do. So there's these three, and then I'll be pretty much done, I think. Worth. I might go back in with some fine detail with the actual shadows. In the areas I think warrant a bit more of a narrow, thin detail sort of seam. But I don't want to put it in too much focus. If I put it in too much focus, then it's going to take away from the face itself. I'm just softening these shadows over here. And I'm just going to go over now and just really emphasize some of the highlights. Doing it with a pretty dry brush.
May you always find your way to higher ground. May you always keep your head held up high. Pretty little thing, you're a diamond in the rough, shining from within. I can tell that you're tough. Just the sight of you when I'm at my weakest point makes a world of difference. Oh, you make me strong. Pretty little thing.
So I'll accentuate the shadows down here. Sorry, the highlight.
Shining from within. I can tell that you're tough. Ordering a cup of love, feel it rising up and above. You will always keep my heart and soul strong. Plant your seeds and watch them grow. The light will always know where to go. You will always keep my heart and soul strong. You're the first thing in the morning and the last. Baby, you're my future and you are my past. Pretty little thing, you're a diamond in the rough, shining from within. I can tell that you're tough. Ordering a cup of love, feel it rising up and above. You will always
Use this paper towel to bring off some of the paint. Takes quite a nice texture when you do that.
The light will always know where to go. You will always keep my heart and soul strong.
I need to go work on that cuff again. It looks a bit weird. You can't really see that. I'll probably work on that off camera. It's not really that important. And anyway, it's in front of the hand, so the edge will be completely The edge will be completely redone anyway because it's in front of the hand. What does that look like? I think it looks alright. I think there's some good highlights in the correct places. Add a couple more. Just here and there. Just to accentuate certain places. Try and get the eye flowing and understanding the lighting situation. One here. So these obviously aren't in the reference image. I think highlighting next to a seam is really important. Certainly the top of a seam. Just adding in a bit of the beards that I've lost. So what I quite like about this is how the beard sort of disappears into the hoodie. I'm going to go back and just add a couple of the darker highlights, make sure that the darker shadows, make sure that they're being coming through. Like on the seams. Just adding a bit of texture with some of these lines. Your fingers there have caused me a problem. So, I think I'm at risk of going too far with this, so I need to stop and sort of reassess and then come back if it needs more doing. I think that was pretty accurate. I think I quite like that. I quite like the way it looks. There's certainly layers in there. Looks, I think it looks quite good, to be honest. I need to come in with areas of blue, which I might do. Might do that now, actually. So I'm mixing some of this, what is it, cobalt blue? Tiny bit. I'll get the wider brush that I was using, which has ended up on the floor somehow. So I'm adding some of the colour back in that I've lost through using the white. A little bit of a test area over here. I'm procrastinating a bit because I don't want to start the hand. I'm a little bit nervous of what's going to happen with the hand. But I will do. I'll start it in a sec. Adding a little bit more blue on there. Just to add texture in the sort of panels, I guess. Just to make our eye remember it is actually a blue hoodie, not a white and a grey one. Right, I can't keep procrastinating, I need to start the hand. I'm nervous about the hand because I'm not very good at hands. But let's see what we can do. I'm going to create a brand new palette here for this. So this is the hand is much lighter than the face. So what I'm going to do, I'm obviously going to get my flesh tint down, which is kind of the base of the colour. I'm going to use a lot more white than I did for the face. It's going to be very pale, this flesh tint. I also think there's possibly a little bit of magenta in there. I'm just going to put a dollop of that down. Now, as I say, I'm a little bit nervous. Tiny bit of magenta. I think that's probably about the right colour. Let's just paint it on and see what happens. There's actually a bit nervous about the lines. To find an eraser wherever the one is. I got one. Okay. Sorry if you heard that. So let's paint the hand. So I'm just going to put the base colour down first and then see what happens. Probably start off with the thumb, move to the fingers and then move to the back of the hand. Kind of feels like the logic of how I'm going to paint it. So I can't stream. I might be able to stream on Thursday. If I don't finish this painting today, then I'll probably stream on Thursday. If I do finish this painting today, my next stream will be on Saturday. No, Sunday, sorry. And I'll start the dog. So regardless, I'll start the dog on Sunday. So I have to be honest, I really am very happy with how this painting's gone, by the way. I was not expecting it to go so well. I love the textures on the beards and the hair. I think the hoodie's done quite well as well. There's nothing about this painting I think's necessarily bad. I will need to step back and work out what I need to improve. Let's see how the hand goes first, because the hand is one of the most important parts of this painting. So you really need to see how that works. And the thing about the hand, everything's so subtle. All the colours are so subtle. All the colour changes, like the knuckles. It's like a different shade of the same colour. So it's not like you're drawing a black line or anything. It is literally a different shade of the same colour. So I've got the base colour down for the hand now. I just need to move on to the real colour now. So I think I'm going to start with the fingers rather than the palm, rather than the back of the hand, and allow the back of the hand to come from the fingers, because each finger is a sort of its individual entity. What is quite good about the hand, there's a really dark shadow around all the fingers, so they're kind of their own thing entirely. So I'm creating the dark tone on the thumb now, which is really quite a red colour. Don't know if I've got too big a brush here, but we'll see. Perhaps it is even more pink than that down here. Gonna get a touch of the crimson. Crimson? I feel like I want vermilion. Yeah, I'll get a touch of vermilion on here. Get some finer brushes. So I'm starting off with quite a deep red or pinky colour in certain areas here. And the reason I'm doing that is so I can go over the flesh tone later on to soften it, or even white maybe. And I don't know how obvious it is, or if I've gone a bit too much. But the thing is with pink, you can soften it pretty easily. A really firm edge to the thumb. Trying to get the fingernail right. At least it looks a little bit like a fingernail. Don't know what that looks like on the stream. Let me have a look. So as with anything, I'll just add the highlights in later once I've sort of painted the formation, the form of the actual thumb itself. So that's the pinky colour of the thumb, I think. I'll come in with now a darker colour, so I'll put some Payne's Grey on the palette. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mix this sort of flesh colour with a tiny bit of Payne's Grey and a bit of water. Now the reason I'm doing this, so I can sort of show in show the sort of creases of the knuckle. It's not dark enough. Maybe I'll go full Payne's grey actually, and I'll use this brush stroke. I can always soften the Payne's grey later on. It is quite important to get this bit right. The other creases I'll do sort of less. Intense sort of Payne's grey colour. That crease is in the wrong place. It's fine, I'll just draw another one. It's up here somewhere. I'll soften that one with a bit of white. So I do think I'm quite weak at hands so far anyway. I don't really know what the technique is. Let's see, this one might be okay. So far the thumb is looking okay. So I think the shape of the thumb's pretty good. It's just the colouring in now. So I'll get some of the flesh tint, start colouring in certain areas. Like here. And here. So I think I'm planning to release a couple of shorts on YouTube, like how to paint hair, like what I did there yesterday. So basically do the entire short of how to paint hair, and then I'll do the entire short of how to paint a hand if it goes well. And then I'll do a whole short of portrait start to finish. Just release them incrementally. Don't know what order I'll release them in. Sorry, I just got a message. So, let me have a look at the finger from the distance. Yeah, I think that looks alright. Can't really complain about the thumb. Now I've got the fingers to do. Maybe there is a little bit more work I can do on the thumb. Just add a bit of depth into the creases. And a bit more light between the creases. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good, the thumb. Now I need to do the fingers. The first thing I'm going to do with the fingers, they have a really, really nice dark border, and I might as well just paint it, to be honest. I think it's slightly lighter than just Payne's Grey, but I'm just going to add a bit of vermilion in there. I'm just adding that border in here. I'll come along later on and sort of fuzz it out a bit, and also make sure the beard is going into the border. Cool. So, I'm going to start with the end here. I'm going to start with a slightly darker fingernail. And I'll add the highlights to the fingernail. Need a bit more Payne's Grey on the palette. So I'm going to, obviously this is quite dark, but I'm obviously going to highlight this with white afterwards. I'm just painting in where the darkest tones are. There's quite a lot of texture in this thing now, actually. Not just a white or beige blob. Looks a bit weird at the moment. Now, there's not much colour variation in this finger. What I will do is I will take some of the very light colour pink that I used. I'm just going to put a little bit of washes down the edges. So there's a wash here. I actually don't even think that's doing anything. Let's go with this one. Better. I'm just going to bring the wash down here. Obviously I'll come in with white later to lighten everything up. I'm adding a little bit more colour, I think, onto this than I was perhaps in the photo. Right, so now I'm going to get the Payne's Grey. Start doing a bit more of the shadow work. Sorry, a bit more of the knuckle work. And a bit of shadows, I guess. I don't think I'm going to finish this today on this stream, so I will have to do a bit on Thursday. So what I think I'm probably going to do, I'm going to leave it on this finger. And then do another sort of hour or so to finish the finger. To finish the whole hand. And then I'll neaten up some of the areas and make sure everything's all perfect. So I'll do that on a stream on Thursday then. So obviously these are quite dark at the moment, which is fine. We'll lighten it up with some white paint later. I'm just going to paint in this shadow here. Tell you what, if I really push through, I might... No, I'm not going to finish this. It needs more detailing. Right, so that's that. Now I'm gonna come in and sort of with the white initially. And I'm gonna sort of highlight around the edges of the nail, fingernail. That works quite well. Gonna grab the flesh tint now. Sort of work around a border around the fingernail. Quite a lot of views tonight. 16. For a weekday, that's quite a lot. For me anyway. I'm looking forward to the day where I do a stream and I get 10,000 views. It's never going to happen. 10,000 people don't want to watch me. It'd be weird though. If I imagine if I had that many people there. Hi Stephen. No, I haven't bashed my finger with a hammer. I'm trying to... I don't know what I'm doing with this finger. It's not working very well, whatever I'm doing. Don't know if that's any better. It does look a bit grey. I did start off with grey, so I can't really blame anyone about myself. My finger definitely isn't very clean in the image though. I think that looks a little bit better. I'm just going to go in with the white and sort of tone it all down. Might use a bigger brush for this. Alright, that's not white, it's pink. So yes, I start with a clean palette. I kind of know what I'm doing. The hand is very much different colour from the face, by the way. It's a much lighter colour. I know, generally speaking, to get a skin tone is, well, to get my skin tone anyway, I whack some white down, whack some flesh tint down, which is always very useful because it's quite a universal tint. And then this time I've used a bit of magenta and vermilion to get the oranges and the pinks out. So I don't think, I don't know. It's a good question. I don't actually know. I just tend to mix. I do get mixing wrong quite a lot, and then just sort of work with it. Doesn't really matter because you can always mix on the canvas anyway, which is what I tend to do. So if you do get the skin tone colour wrong, you just tend to know once it's on the canvas, well, that needs a bit of white, so just whack a bit of white over the top and I'll just spoil that bit. Which is what I'm kind of doing now. I'm trying to whack a bit of white over the top, but it doesn't seem to be playing ball. The white's not being white. The reason it's not playing ball is, of course, because I'm not being very precise with it. I quite often get asked, how do you know what colours to mix? And I just like, I don't know, just look at it and say, well, that's got some purple in it, that's got some green in it, that's got some grey in it, that's got some... And I have quite a significant number of paints up here, as you can see. So I do have quite a lot of range, although, to be honest, I tend to use these ones, the big ones. I hardly ever use them unless I want a really specialist colour. I do have quite a few paints. I have 16 or 17, which is usually enough. That's that finger done. I say that as I keep working on it. I'm going to put some highlights on the knuckle. Tell you what, I'm not going to put highlights on the knuckle, because what I'll do is next time I'll get my paint pen out and put highlights where they're supposed to be. Although I'm just hypocriting myself again, because clearly I've just started putting highlights on the knuckles. I think hands are definitely my weakest area. I've not really nailed it. Yeah, I'm not 100% happy with this. As I say, I'm really not that comfortable with hands. I don't use wet palettes. I never have done. I've seen them. To be honest, you can't mix a colour that you mixed before, then what are you doing as an artist? Yeah, you might get it wrong, but not a big deal. So I'm gonna probably leave it there, to be honest. I'm quite tired, and I'll do my stream on Thursday. I'll finish this on a Thursday. But I've done quite a lot today. So I've done the hoodie, made the hoodie sort of more vibrant, more highlighty, and then I've done the thumb and the finger ish. Maybe I'll work on them again next week. I'm not entirely sure the fingernail's correct, but you know what, it doesn't look terrible. So I'll add a bit of flesh tint on it, see if that looks a little bit better. And then from there, all I need to do is that, and then the back of the hand, and then tidy up a few areas of there. Like here, I feel like there needs to be more going on up there. Let me just do that quickly. Do what I think needs to happen. I have some pretty strong eyelashes. So for those of you who didn't hear the start of the stream, my plan is I'll finish this on Thursday, hopefully. I don't, I'll finish streaming this on Thursday. I will finish this on Thursday. And then, come Sunday, I'll start a new one, and it's going to be of a very, very fluffy dog. So it's going to be a big challenge. It's going to require a lot of detailing. It's going to require a lot of patience, I think. So that'll be cool. Just adding a bit of life back into my eyes here. So I think that'll be it for today. Done quite a lot. So I've done the hoodie. Been going an hour and sort of 50 minutes. So I've done the hoodie and I've done 2 fingers. Well, a thumb and a finger, and then I'll go back to the here. By the way, that's scale, if you're interested. So the hand is significantly bigger than my hand. The head looks about the same size, but it's not. It's actually about twice the size of my head, maybe. So that's the scale that I'm painting to. Thank you, Stephen. I really appreciate that. As I say, I can't finish it today. I'm just a bit too tired. I need to cook. I need to eat. But hopefully it looks like me. I am screwing up my face in the photo deliberately. I do have puffy eyes in the photo because I was tired. I had a bit of scruffy hair. And the whole idea of the painting was to be a bit distorted. So I've managed to capture that really well, I think. So I'll finish it off on Thursday. And then we'll see what happens. I'll release the videos for that. I did just release a video earlier. It was a rerun of the skateboarder video, if any of you saw it. Unfortunately, the YouTube didn't like the skateboarder video. It was analytics wise, it decided to flag it for some reason because I've something in the description. So I've re-released it. And then my full cat video will be out on Saturday. And in the meantime, what I might do, well, I don't think I have time to edit it, to be honest. I might just add a short of, this is how you do hair or something like that. So, fantastic, guys and girls. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And yeah, see you Thursday. And that's a very good timing because I've just got to the end of the playlist. All right. Thanks very much, guys. See you later.